Hello. Oh, too soon. I am going to do this. How's that? Perfect. All right. Congressional representatives, state representatives, I see lots of very important people. All of us today are important people, so thank you for coming. And my name is Mike Ashooh. I'm the chair of the Shelburne Selectboard, and on behalf of the Selectboard, I'd like to welcome you to this celebration of a milestone of a big event. Thank you for coming. I was just thinking about groundbreaking, and that was just, seems like very recently, but this project has taken so long. All of a sudden, here it is. And this is it. This is the finish line. This is the goal, and it's extremely exciting. I can't claim to have made much of a contribution. I say we are here, but I only made a little nudge as a member of the select board. We voted to approve a grant and waive fees. So I feel proud to be able to say I helped this along in a little way. And I think a lot of us can. So I would like to just celebrate that moment. For me as well, this has been a kind of milestone. After the pandemic, we were feeling beat up, feeling reactive. The board felt like we needed to be more proactive and to court the kind of changes in Shelburne, to seek them out, and to support them when we could. So Kate Cross, my former colleague on the select board, was very active in working on relationships with Champlain Housing Trust and trying to build the kind of relationships that would make something like this happen. So it's very gratifying to see that this is here. We learned in that process to be front-footed, to be proactive, to be ambitious in our hopes and aspirations for our town, and it paid off. And I think for the Champlain Housing Trust as well, this is an ambitious project that has taken a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of help, a lot of people joining the cause. So it's a great opportunity, not just to help address the housing crisis in Vermont, but to do something good for a community and for our state. And I can't believe that Shelburne is the beneficiaries of such an amazing place. And to the residents, welcome to a really fantastic community and a place to live. I think you will love being a member of Shelburne. So without any else to say, I'm just extremely grateful for everybody here, for the Champlain Housing Trust, for the support we've had in making this a reality. So thank you very much for coming. I'm looking forward to getting a look inside. It's very exciting. Thank you.
We're gonna see if that works. Okay. Hear me okay? Good. Thank you. I think it is a bit stunning that we're standing here 15 months later after a groundbreaking. This was a pretty complex project around us. And it just feels like yesterday I was holding a small baby and we were just sort of beginning to do the work here. But I know that a lot of work has been done and it's been great work. We purchased this land. The Econo Lodge was here, six very dumpy looking motel rooms, which worked really well for folks who were homeless for a good period of time. We purchased it in 2013, and we began operating it as Harbor Place, and we knew at that time that the property had a different future. We didn't know what it was, but we knew it was going to be different, and that future is now. We've arrived now from that time 12 years ago to this day. This new neighborhood, Bay Ridge, includes 94 permanently affordable homes consisting of 68 affordable apartments, right? And developed by CHT and our partners Evernorth, and Nancy will be getting up to speak a few words as well. And 26 affordable condominiums for sale developed by Champlain Housing Trust, which if you rode in and if you walked in on or along Margaret's Way. And to think it only took 22 different funding sources to get here. I mean, how easy is that? Oh, wait. 23. But in the process of bringing those sources together, we created hundreds of decent paying jobs, hundreds. And our homeowners in these apartments will soon be contributing large sums of money to pay for the property taxes for Shelburne and for the state of Vermont, which we do willingly. But most importantly, we'll be providing security, stability, affordability, and opportunity to over 300 new residents of Shelburne. And that's what's important about today. These 68 new apartments were constructed across 2 buildings. You see, this is the zoning for Shelburne, and they were right. 2 buildings, not 1. Along Shelburne Road, plus the rehabilitation of 2 buildings further back on the property. They were here. They were part of the old Harbor Place. There's a wide range of apartment sizes. There are 5 4-bedroom units, okay, which is a lot. 16 3-bedroom units. These are large-sized apartments. 12 2-bedroom units, 27 1-bedroom units, and some efficiencies. The point is that this is built to sort of respond to the need for large families and the need for affordable housing for those families. The rents also range widely, with a 3-bedroom apartment as low as $1,700 a month, includes everything. Now, if you want to go get a 3-bedroom apartment in the marketplace, good luck. You're going to pay twice as much as that. But what we really are doing here is also the Burlington Housing Authority is providing us with vouchers for people who are very low income, so they could afford to be here. We'll be serving 20 of these apartments will be for folks who are formerly homeless. So we're really going deep in terms of supporting a wider range of incomes, to very low income to working folks who are making middle income wages. Over 25%, just so information, of CHC's current housing and apartments are serving people who are formerly homeless. That's the apartments. Then the 26 new homes have been constructed along Margaret's Way in 7 buildings, all with attached garages and private outdoor spaces. These are 2 and 3-bedroom homes with mud rooms and 2-car garages. I mean, I don't have a 2-car garage. I wish I had a 2-car. Anyway, along those, you will be able to look through at least a couple of those homes. That is part of our shared equity program, and they will remain affordable for generations of homeowners, not just the first home buyer, but the next home buyer and the home buyer after that. Those will always be available for folks who need moderate income housing. The good news is that we marketed all of these apartments and homes to Shelburne residents first and to people who work in Shelburne. We really made a really big effort, and some folks who live and work in Shelburne have been responding to that, and that's been a very important part of what we have done. Almost all of those homes have been sold or they're under contract, except for one, yeah? Except for one? Except for one. I got it right. There are 6 families living in these apartments right now, and the rest will be filled here in the next 3 months, right? Yeah. The sale price for the homes, for the 2-bedroom homes, are $169,000, okay? The 3-bedroom homes, $189,000. Now, the median price of a home in Chittenden County, if you looked, but it's $500,000, okay? And frankly, folks who are being able to move through home ownership are actually doing better than they are in the private both in the private market, certainly, but even in terms of the private rental market. I just want to say quickly that connecting the condominiums and apartments is a new street, Margaret's Way. It was named in memory of Margaret Bozick, Champlain Housing Trust staff person who was largely responsible for designing the program and operations of Harbor Place when it began on this site, 2013. So Margaret, passed away during COVID in 2021. So it's a memory of her. Staff will come back to celebrate her life at some point in the future. This is a great development, one of the largest in the state, and we could have not done it without so many people here, so many people of you here, as well as this community of Shelburne. So we want to just thank the congressional delegation in the state of Vermont, and in order to help with that, I'm going to introduce the junior senator from Vermont, Peter Welch.
God, it's so wonderful to be here. And I apologize, I was getting the hook from Monte telling me to stop munching on those delicious donuts over here. What's so special is what this represents is a commitment to community and accomplishment. I mean, anybody who gets involved in housing now, like Champlain Housing Trust, like Evernorth, like all of you, it's always impossible. You can't do it. The obstacles are incredible. And I don't know why, Michael, you're such a glutton for punishment, or the Selectboard in Shelburne, where you wouldn't necessarily have gotten the public support to do what you've done. So where does it come from? And these are tough times we're in right now, politically. Everyone's kind of wondering what's going on and what the future is going to be, and we don't know. But what this represents to me is that we're determined to make the future that we want. And that future that we want includes people of all incomes. It includes people of all races, all sexual orientations. It includes all people who want to help other people, be their neighbors, have a life where they can achieve their goals and meet their own capacities to be a contributing person in the community. And what's stressful for all of us is there's so many forces that seem to be pulling us apart now, when what gives us strength is when we come together. And to come together isn't just an aspiration. It's not just a state of mind. It takes material circumstances, like a house, like affordable groceries, like clean access to energy that doesn't make you sick. And that is where the commitment to building community has to get very concrete. Let's get this project done. That's what people said. That's what they said, and that is what they did. That's what I find so inspiring. And, it is hard now. Everyone asks me, Peter, how are you doing? And I say, well, between bourbon and exercise, I'm making it. But, the reality is we're all uncertain because a lot of the foundation under our feet has been, it's been destabilized. And what does make a difference, I think, for each of us, is that we get up and face the day and do the best we can, sticking to our sense that helping other people along the way actually is going to be the best antidote for what ails us. And the fact that we're here where the impossible has happened. You've got Shelburne with the leadership of Michael and your select board, a welcoming community. That wasn't necessarily a given years ago. We've got all these funding sources. You mentioned 41. You've got how many? 24. Well, this was an easy project. And then you got the builders and the electricians, and you got the families, and you've got all the community advocates and the folks in the legislature who are here. So this is a testament to, what? We're going to win. We're going to succeed. We're going to create these communities. And, I want to acknowledge our friends from the Trump administration who are here. You care about housing, and we welcome you because you're helping us build housing. Michael Banks and Anthony Leonardos, thank you. You're helping. So you go tell that president we want more housing, all right? And we're going to hold you accountable. And I also just want to say, one of the funding sources, two of the funding sources, Becca, my wonderful colleague in the House, and I in the Senate, and Bernie, we work on housing together, and both of us were able to get some of the funding. I think that made a helpful difference here, about $6 million between us. And that is that we brag about it, right? That's what politicians do. But we also have some humility here. Our job is to try to do in Washington that which allows folks back here who are doing the really, really hard work to have a shot at being successful. And with some of the taxpayer money that you sent to Washington and we were able to send back, that helped. That helped a little bit. But the bottom line here is that this is about our future. The bottom line here is that this is a testament, however dark it may appear to be, this is a testament that it's within our power, each of us working together to create that future that we want for us and for the Vermonters who come after we have had our opportunity to carry on in the Vermont way. So thank you so very much for letting me be part of this wonderful, wonderful day.
I was going to mention, and I think I want to just sort of give a round of applause again to Senator Welch for congressionally directing spending on this project of $5 million. Really made a difference. And the next person, actually, let's give her a round of applause, Becca, Balint, for doing the same thing for $1 million, and we appreciate that. So, and I do want to say that both the senator and the representative have been, they were both former pro tems, right? We should have named the street Pro Tem Street. That would have been the thing to do. And the truth is that they were advocates for affordable housing in Vermont like crazy. And they continue to do that in D.C. So I really appreciate that, and I want to introduce then Becca Balint.
I got a little step stool. I'm gonna. So it's so nice to see so many friends here, people that I've worked on housing with for over the years, and of course, a pleasure to see my friend Senator Hinsdale here, who is the chair of the Economic Development and Housing Committee in the Senate, who I also know is a tremendous champion for housing. So it's just wonderful to see all of us who came up through the Senate, who believe so deeply in what housing means for individuals, for families, but also for communities in the state. And I also have to give such a shout out to Senator Welch. We don't get to see each other very often in DC because I'm stuck in the 9 circles of hell in the House. People think there's only 7, there's not, there's 9. And it is so nice to have a team of senators that I can work closely with. My colleagues in the House are envious of the fact that we have such a strong connection, the three of us together, and that our teams work well together. It really is a team effort to bring money home back for projects like this. And we just want to let you know what it means for me to be fairly new to the job and knowing that the 2 senators and I are completely aligned on housing. It makes it a lot easier for us to do our work together. So look, you know what this means for this town, for individuals, for families. I've often said that housing is at the nexus of all of the problems that we're trying to solve here in Vermont, whether it is about making sure that our economy is strong. Certainly I hear from businesses all over the state, there's not enough housing for workforce. If you talk to the school communities, they want to have vibrant schools across the state, and that's not going to happen if we don't have homes here for young families to move into. We know, I can say as a parent myself, I hear from my kids all the time. I have a pretty modest home in Brattleboro, and my teenagers always say to me, Mom, you can't ever sell this home because if you do, we will never be able to afford a home in Vermont. And I hear that from my friends across the state. They're having similar conversations with their kids. And of course, as a former teacher, I know that you don't have the resources that you need to succeed in school if you don't have a safe, secure home to grow from. And of course, if you're struggling with substance use issues, you need stability in order to get your life in order. And so I have been so proud of the work that I've been able to do over the years on housing, and to be here to see all of these units going up. Every single unit is representing this incredible story of possibility for those individuals and those families. And I just want to thank every single person here today who had a hand in bringing this to fruition. These projects are not easy. You know, the funding streams themselves are difficult, but then all the logistics on the ground. And I know often when we're here at these ribbon cuttings, people will say, you know, this is great that we have this housing, but it's a drop in the bucket in Vermont. And I hear that. And I know that's true. And every single person here knows that to be true. But we have to celebrate the successes. We have to draw attention to the fact that we are making progress. And when we make progress in a community, other communities feel like that could be a possibility for them as well. So I'm very excited to be here today to celebrate with all of you. And it is now my honor to turn the microphone over to Senator Rom Hinsdale. Thank you so much.
Just a quick introduction. I don't want to take too much time, but I first met her, Kesha Rom Hinsdale, when she worked for the Community and Economic Development Office, and we were thinking we were doing some planning on Cambrian Rise, if you know, a little development in Burlington of about 1,000 or so apartments and homes, and Kesha was responsible for making sure the community had a voice. She rounded them all up. She brought them to meetings. She got their input, and we responded in a positive way. So she's been an advocate for people certainly in our community now for a very, very long time. So my pleasure to introduce Senator Kesha Rom Hinsdale.
Okay, I was already at peak excitement, and now I get a stool, and I'm with all of my favorite people. Anyone who knows me, I'm Senator Kesha Rom Hinsdale, Senate Majority Leader, and anyone who knows me knows I will travel anywhere in the state to talk about housing. And today, I could have almost walked here. I live a half a mile down the road on Bay Road, and there are donuts, and my daughter wants a donut, so please leave me one. But I personally could not be more excited about this project. I just learned this morning there will be a playground right behind me where I'm standing, and I'm looking at the other family who brought their baby, Alex Farrell and Ellie and their son. This will be the closest playground to my house. I'm excited. You know, hopefully the neighbors like me, and I'm not scaring you too much because I will be here a lot. I'm the one who brought my baby last 15 months ago to the groundbreaking, and I can't promise, Michael, that you can hold this baby, but that's what this is all about. You got a thumbs up. That's what this is all about. I do have notes because I am so excited. I didn't want to forget what Chris Donnelly asked me to say. Well, and I do want to thank you all on behalf of the legislature as well. It took a lot of my colleagues pushing for housing funding, permit reform, empowering local communities. Town managers are heroes, and Matt Lawless is one of my heroes, our newer town manager. Yes. It's made my job a lot easier to trek over the other mile to go to meetings and say we need more housing. We should not forget the power of our town managers and the work they carry. I have been saying the number in my head and probably to neighbors, 94, for over a year now. I've been passing by this site every day and turning home saying 94, 94, 94. 94 families, 94 households are moving just down the street from me. 94 neighbors I get to welcome and to meet. 94 families that have the possibility of having their kids walk to the lake. We have such gems down Bay Road, and we're going to work on pedestrian and bike safety on Bay Road with all of the same people in this room so that they can safely get to the lake, to Shelburne Farms, so they can bike to Shelburne Community School from here. These are 94 families that are going to be an intimate part of my life. And I could not be more excited about that. And when we talk about the 26 home ownership opportunities here, 9 of those condos are slated to be purchased by families headed by a person of color. I have made it my mission, and I see Patricia Fontaine, the outgoing chair of our equity committee here in town. This means a lot. I don't think people can underestimate what 9 new families of color owning homes means in all of Vermont, let alone the community of Shelburne. Some folks may have heard a few years ago, the number was something like 18 Black homeowners in all of Burlington. So I don't think it's an exaggeration to say this project could close the racial homeownership gap in Shelburne. And that, I mean, maybe to be the first community to do that is, I can, between the Pizza Hut being gone on Route 7 and this, I can die happy, folks. This is truly a peak moment for me. And most importantly of all, because my colleagues in Washington who served in the Senate know, environment and economy are often pitted against each other. And that should never be the case. And particularly when we talk about transit and bike walk oriented housing, 94 units of housing, but also this development has $1 million solar investment. And that's gonna be rooftop and off-site solar. And that allows people who desperately want to be part of the environmental future and our climate future, be a part of it, show that off. Once you see something like a solar panel in your community, you trust it more. You trust that technology. And we cannot underestimate how important that investment is. Finally, $5 million went into new infrastructure from all of the various funding sources that we've all put together for this project. We need infrastructure in our state that helps keep the lake clean, that helps us welcome neighbors in a way that we don't have to worry about our water sewer capacity. It is part of how we build a strong future with clean water and a healthy climate. That is critical. When you think about things like our first generation homeownership grants in the state and our recent approval of $2 billion of infrastructure in the state through the Community Housing Investment Program, I think I got that right, financing program, we want to make more dollars available so that this kind of project can be replicated across the state. This is the dream, this is the goal, and it should certainly not be the exception. It should be the rule. And I just want to thank everyone who's made this possible so that I get to welcome 94 new neighbors very soon. Thank you.
Wow. I like this stool. I'm going to take advantage of this. Hi, everybody. So glad to be here. Oh. And we're getting feedback. The pen. Okay. I'm Nancy Owens. I'm Nancy Owens. I'm president of Evernorth. Evernorth is the co-developer, co-owner with Champlain Housing Trust of this development. We're here, as other folks have mentioned, we're celebrating, right? 94 new homes, beautiful, energy efficient, affordable homes in this great neighborhood in Shelburne. And there's so much for us to be happy about. not least is the collaboration among so many parties to reach this day. I heard we had 41 funding sources, maybe 21, maybe 24, but there were a lot of funding sources. There were 2 architects, 3 contractors, and hundreds of people. And we can, as Peter said, really, see the fruits of our labor and take that in and the real work of community building that has resulted in people living in homes they can actually afford. That creates stability and opportunity, something we all want and need for ourselves and for the people that we love and for really every single person. The news is, though, that Shelburne is already home to hundreds of people who live or have lived in affordable housing that's owned by Champlain Housing Trust, Evernorth, Cathedral Square. We've been building here for a while. We've been partnering with this community. Back in 2004, we built new homes at Ockert Lane on the south side of the village. In 2015, we opened another very beautiful neighborhood called Harrington Village. It's right in the center of town. And Bay Ridge is adding to this legacy, right? Nearly doubling our efforts so that altogether we have almost 150 permanently affordable apartments in Shelburne, as well as over 50 other condominiums and single-family homes that are in the CHT family and being stewarded forever affordable community assets that will last for generations. An asset that provides not only the much-needed housing, but also contributes to the economy, contributes through property taxes, through people who are working and living here. So Vermont policymakers decided decades ago that whenever the state is investing its own or federal dollars in affordable housing, it would protect those investments forever. And that means the housing we're opening here today, as well as the ones at Ockert Lane and Harrington Village, are assets here forever. So that's a really important thing to be aware of. I wanted to say, as we know, the cost of construction has skyrocketed over the past 3 or 4 years. The inflationary growth of construction labor and materials, now compounded by tariffs and regulatory hurdles, is really unprecedented. And it is creating an enormous challenge for everybody at every market point in the area. So how did we do this? Senator Welch was asking, how did we do this? And we overcame not only all the socio-political issues, but the cost challenge at Bay Ridge through the availability of a tremendous amount of federal funds for housing. And thank you to our amazing delegation. Honestly, thank you so much for their unyielding efforts to create, support, and bring home to Vermont so much federal funding through great programs that benefit all of us. We use them all. We use them all. Housing credits, energy credits, project-based subsidies, congressionally directed spending from both Senator Welch and Representative Balint, CDBG funds, home funds, National Housing Trust funds, brownfield funds, and ARPA state fiscal recovery funds. This neighborhood, $56.4 million and 94 homes, that's what it costs to build. And 60% of all of that money came from federal programs. Amazing. Thank you. Amazing. And we have partners in the state, right? Vermont Housing Conservation Board, the VCDP program, Vermont Economic Development Agency, the Burlington Housing Authority, Vermont Housing Finance Agency. They administer these federal programs and shepherd the project through the process. And also, as part of that federal funding is private equity that was generated from the sale of the federal credits. Those credits were purchased by our equity investor, RBC Capital. And we have folks here from RBC in the audience today. Thank you for coming today. And thank you to the state of Vermont, right, for another 15% of that total financing that came to housing. And what a great use of our state dollars to leverage over $47 million in other federal and private funds. So that's a really great investment for Vermont, right? So that balance of funds, the last 25% or so, was from a variety of private sources. But all those funds all together, administered by the organizations and the people that have worked hard for this day, deserve a thank you. And as you're walking and meeting and talking to different people, you know, there's a story behind each and every one of those sources. And you know, take the chance and ask the question while you're here today, like, so what was your role in this project? Because I guarantee you everybody here played a part in making this happen. So one highlight about this neighborhood that I wanted to, among so many wonderful things about it, but that I wanted to mention is the effort that we've made to mitigate climate change through the design and construction of energy efficient housing and the addition of solar arrays to reduce energy costs and carbon footprint. For the rental housing, we estimate that by choosing to electrify the buildings for heating and cooling, we're reducing our carbon footprint by 190 tons per year. And by adding solar, we've further reduced the footprint by 149 tons per year. So that's just a fantastic effort on the part of this development. And finally, I want to circle back to the idea of celebration because the times do call for some good news, right? And I was thinking about the unity and freedom, which is Vermont's motto. So unity, really to see in each person the humanity and the opportunity that we see and want for ourselves, and freedom to act together to build this healthy, loving community in the face of what we see, you know, real rhetorical and real actual violence that's alive in our society. So we can and we have chosen freedom and unity. I see it in this neighborhood. I see this neighborhood as a visible resistance to the discord that is around us. And that is really, truly something to celebrate. So thank you all. It's my pleasure. I want to introduce Chris Flannery. He's the CFO of the Vermont Housing Finance Agency, a stalwart and steady partner for housing all across the state. We appreciate it so much. Thank you, Chris.
Should I use that too?
No, you don't.
Okay.
I don't think you need that, Chris.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Nancy. Yeah, I'm Chris Flannery, as Nancy said, CFO of Vermont Housing Finance Agency. I'm standing in today for our executive director, Maura Collins, who can't be here. I think she's actually working with Fannie Mae in Washington today. I think she was here 15 months ago for the groundbreaking, though, and I'm personally very happy to be able to stand in for this project in particular, just because from the finance point of view, it checks so many boxes that I think are important to our agency, our mission, our goals, and what we're trying to do with the resources that we have allocated to us. So in particular, first and foremost, the number of units that everybody stressed, 94 units of housing being brought online here today is just really a fantastic number. From the finance point of view, that the leveraging of dollars for that many units at one time represents an efficiency that is more necessary than ever in the current, high cost and difficult building environment that we're in. My main point here has been touched on to some degree by the other speakers, but I actually count 25 sources myself. Like, that's just my personal count. Yeah. But yeah, we can't agree on the number of sources. But that number of sources really represents several main categories: federal sources, state sources, town sources, philanthropic sources, sources related not to housing but to energy. All of these sources either directly or leverage both private and public capital. That mixture, that bringing together of different sets of resources is not an easy thing to do. It's a very difficult thing to do. All those sources come with different sort of rules, requirements, all manner of restrictions. And what I'd like to add, just with that in mind, to the discussion so far is just that, just by way of my background, I have some appreciation for how much work that is. And, you know, before the groundbreaking 15 months ago, there was years of effort by the developers here, by Evernorth and by CHT and the personnel that worked on this project, that really is a competency and a set of skills that I really admire. And Monte was called a glutton for punishment before, I think. I hope that he continues along that way. It's just really a privilege to be a part of it from the VHFA point of view. And the specific sources in question here that helped make this project happen, I just want to thank our federal representatives for bringing the low-income housing, for their support over time for the low-income housing tax credit. That's a federal source, which is, I think, 35 or 40% of the total cost of this project. It might be the single most important source of funding for this project that comes from the federal level. And then from the state level, I just want to cite a couple that haven't been named, and that is 2 types of state tax credits are being deployed on this project, one for the rental portion of the project and one for the homeownership project portion. And then I think it's more than $5 million or almost $5 million in funding from the Middle Income Homeownership Development Program, which is actually, it's state appropriated funds, but some of it's federal ARPA money, some of it's state money. But I'd like to thank our state representatives here as well for bringing that to the table. And these sources of funds and the support for them are just so necessary to getting a project of this scale to fruition in the way that it has. So we're happy for our role here, and I'd just like to thank everybody and the developers in particular, because they did the hard work here. So, thank you.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce Gus Seelig, the Executive Director of Vermont Housing and Conservation Board. VHCB manages state funds authorized through the state legislature and also federal dollars. They have an awesome presence statewide, financing housing, historic preservation, and conservation throughout the state. And VHCB is really a model of collaborative community development for here and really all across the country. So here's Gus Seelig.
What a wonderful day. And a day that we all need right now. I want to start just by thanking Representative Balint, your role as pro tem. Other than when Peter first got us into business, we had no fiercer advocate in that role. And Peter, thank you for being one of the people who championed establishing a housing and conservation board in Vermont. But thank you both more for representing us right now in Washington at this difficult time. And it really, really means a lot that you're here today. I want to thank Evernorth and CHT. I got one of my right hats on today. As soon as Evernorth gives me a hat, I'll put yours on too. And I need to thank my staff, Jenny Hislop, our housing director, Polly Major, are both here. Tyler, who worked on this project, and Ariane are not, but I get to be here because lots of people do lots of hard work. And a thank you to Shelburne. This is not our first time in Shelburne, but over the years, we've now invested $27 million in this community, and we just went from 180 homes to 275 with this development, and we're so glad that you welcomed us here to do this good work. And what a great community this is. This is one of the few places in the state where we've actually measured along the La Plata reduction in phosphorus in the lake going into our waterways. We've funded Shelburne Pond. We've worked with Shelburne Farms, and everybody who lives in Shelburne gets to use and walk at Shelburne Farms at no cost. And so that's another great asset to being able for people to move to Shelburne. I became enamored in these times with a book that Doris Kearns Goodwin wrote about her marriage to her husband, the late Dick Goodwin. Some of you have, when you go to enough CHT events, you have to try to remember what you said at previous events. So I'm going to give you a line from a speech that Dick Goodwin wrote called the Ripples of Hope speech. It's not one that I used the last time I spoke to you, though, about it. He went to South Africa in 1966 at a really dark time with Robert Kennedy, the father, not the son. Very different guy. And in that speech, he said, "This is a day of affirmation, a celebration of liberty. We stand here in the name of freedom." And as Nancy spoke about freedom and unity, that's what this project is so much about, is freedom and unity. Governor Scott and the legislature have asked us for to make transformational investments. And Alex, it's good to see you here today, and know that CDBG is a part of all of this and that your staff are pulling with us to make this happen all over the state. CHT and Evernorth don't just build homes or manage housing or provide an array of services. You build community, you build neighborhoods, you empower people. You're practicing democracy in its best forms. I understand among the people who are moving in, who are becoming homeowners, include a nurse, include people who work at Wake Robin, the chef at Shelburne Farms, and a child care worker, all becoming homeowners. There will be new Americans moving in here, and some of the apartments are designed quite large to accommodate larger families. That's something we don't do nearly as much as we did 30 years ago, but really important to welcome people by having housing that will meet their needs. This is a day of light. It's a day of hope, but it's not the only day. Within the last 6 months, I've been with CHT at Champlain Place when they and CVOEO reopened it. We were, many of us, together at 40th and Allen, and when 65 apartments were reopened and rededicated, that had really environmental contamination that needed to be fixed, and great assets in that community to come to. Earlier this month, Spectrum opened a facility for youth with CHT's help up in St. Albans. 40 apartments we broke ground on at Cambrian Rise within the last month, and now 94 homes. And we're not done. We're going to be celebrating at some point 38 new apartments in Burlington at the former VFW site. We'll figure out how to, we lost the sound? Okay. Shout! Protect. 30 condominiums are going to open, or will break ground on at Cambrian at some point, and we'll be housing in Heinsberg in the next 6 or 8 months that will break ground on. So lots more work that CHT is doing all over the state. When we broke ground, I compared CHT and Michael's work to that of the recently passed but greatest 5-tool baseball player of all time, Willie Mays. And that irked Michael a little bit because his hero was the greatest winner of all time, Yogi Berra. More championships than anybody ever. Every day that Michael and his team are doing their work, Amy, Miranda, Chris, Cheryl, Julie, all of you and all the people you lead are winning for somebody somewhere in Chittenden County or Franklin County. You're delivering better housing policy, all good stuff. And the people who get to move into these homes, it makes such a difference for them. I'm going to close with a poem that I think speaks to what CHT and Evernorth are all about. It's To Be of Use by Marge Percy. The people I love best jump into the work head first, without dallying in the shallows, and swim off with sure strokes almost out of sight. They seem to become natives of that element, the black, sleek heads of seals bouncing like half-submerged balls. I love people who harness themselves to an ox to a heavy cart, who pull like water buffalo with massive patience, who strain in the mud and the muck to move things forward, who do what has to be done again and again and again. I want to be with people who submerge in the task, who go into the fields to harvest and work in a row and pass the bags along, who are not parlor generals and field deserters, but move in a common rhythm when the food must come in or the fire be put out. The work of the world is common as mud. Botched, it smears the hands and crumbles to dust, but the thing worth doing well done has a shape that satisfies, clean and evident. Greek amorphous for wine or oil, poppy vases that held corn are put in museums, but you know they were made to be used. The pitcher cries for water to carry, and a person for work that is real. Thank you for doing this really important, real work and getting it done. Our hearts are full for what will happen, for all the celebrations that families will have here, for graduations, for anniversaries, for important holidays. Thank you, CHT. Thank you, Evernorth. So well done.
Wow, that was great. We're this close to being done, okay? This close. We're right around that turn here. And what I want to say is we're going to do a ribbon cutting over here. You're all going to be in the photo, okay? All right, so don't run off. I don't know what you camera folks want to do if you want to get on the other side, but you can be in the photo too if you want. But basically, we're going to do a ribbon cutting here. The photo's going to be here. And then we're going to be able to set up, say there's 3 apartments down this area here. There are the community room and bathrooms over here, just in case you're interested. And then down the street, there are condominiums. But we're not done yet. We have some people to thank. Who do you want to thank?
I want to thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Nick. No, seriously.
I do.
Okay,
We
go
have a
ahead.
great partnership, and it's more impactful through that partnership for you and all your teams. So thank you.
Thank you. Oh, that's it?
Then I want to thank my team.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, and then you can thank yours. But so the Evernorth team that worked on this project includes Jess Newbelt, Sandra Silla, and Sue Krajic from our real estate development. They're standing right over here. And Fran Estes with our asset management group. Didn't see Fran here. Okay, but just as well as our rest of our whole team.
And I want to thank my team, our team, CHT's team, Miranda, Javier, and Donald. I don't know if Donald's here, but thank you. Supported by the best staff in the country, nonprofit staff.
All right. So the apartments, these new buildings that we're sitting under right here, were designed by Duncan Wisniewski Architecture and constructed by DEW Construction. And the renovated buildings, also apartments back here on the site, they were designed by Scott and Partners Architecture, and construction was done by Naylor and Breen Builders.
Nothing small. We just didn't have to have one contractor. We needed at least 3, right? So Snyder Homes, who was a great company working for CHC, Snyder Homes build the condos for us down Margaret Way. Thank you, Snyder. Chris.
Chris is here somewhere. V-Light was a special funder for the off-site solar, and Norwich Runtime Solar constructed that off-site solar in partnership with Novus Energy. And GMP, Efficiency Vermont, 3E Thermal all provided incentives and financing.
And I know we thank the village broadly, but I want to just simply thank the staff and the volunteers and the select board, the planning commission, the design review board, the housing committee, the social services committee, all of you folks here who are from Shelburne. Thank you so much for your work and support.
I want to make a thank you to the Burlington Housing Authority for the 30 vouchers that are making, a portion of these homes even more affordable. And also to the Vermont Community Development Program. Alex, thank you for being here. CDBG funds through the town of Shelburne. And the Vermont Department of Economic Development Brownfield Program are also out of your agency.
We have a lot of donors who live in Shelburne, and we want to show show our appreciation for their support over the years to CHT. Thank you.
I think you just keep going. You've got more. Neighborhoods.
Don't you have more too?
No, I'm good.
Get some more.
I did that.
You did that? You did V-Line?
Yeah.
You did that?
Yeah.
GMP? You did
Yeah.
that? Sure you did that?
Yeah.
Oh, you did all of those?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay, ready? Hi. Michael Monte, nice to meet you. Just want to thank Ryan Joseph. Sorry about that, for Senator Sanders, who's visiting here. Appreciate it. Thank you to the Senator. We'll see you at the next ribbon cutting, for sure. Thank you. NeighborWorks America's here, the folks who give us support, both financially for our programs as well as our capital activities. There are a bunch of, the folks who are living in our housing went to go get a mortgage, all right, from a regular, and 7 local mortgage lenders really lent their support to the folks who are buying homes here. So thank you to all of them. To the Argosy Foundation, who gave us a grant to build the shared equity homes. Pretty stunning, really, when you think about that. That doesn't happen often. We want to thank the Argosy Foundation for that. Please. They continue to be great supporters of ours. And I just want to welcome and also thank the HUD and the HUD staff. Michael Banks is here, who's a regional administrator. He's now been here twice. Hopefully you come up a third time. We got a lot of work to do. We're going to continue to do the work where we know we have things in common to make things work here for affordable housing. So I think that's it, yeah? That's great. Okay. So now we're going to put up a ribbon. You're going to just come up behind us, okay? Just come on up. Come on up. Don't be afraid. We have a photographer here. Get in the photo. Get rid of the tape. Supposedly somebody was putting on the ribbon. Getting rid of the tape. Come on up. Here, room where it says 110, down in that hallway. There are 3 apartments to visit. Down in one of this building here, 110. And down if you want to see
Nice chatting with you.
It wasn't art, it was, he sold it for a friend of mine's 60th birthday, and they needed a place to have it. So we just had it on our salon.
Yeah, the ones with the great place.
Yeah, it was a great party.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
I think I'm as happy about it as you are.
Oh my gosh.
CCTV?
That's right, that's right.
Took us as a society to figure out that it's the foundation.
Most expensive place for care. Do you know that?
Steve Kendall, the union.
That's what I'm thinking.
Charlie's doing a thing.
Everybody's got snow tires.
That's true.
Yeah.